every week now?
Oh, I know, it's all for the fire.
Meet your odds. Probably get too much to do. I don't want to do that. Every week? I'm gonna try. All right. Just put a maybe for that one. All right.
We might as well get moving here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Warrenville City Council regular meeting for Monday, March 4th, 2024. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, the go-to application is limiting the number of participants for tonight's meeting. So if you're not here and you're trying to get in electronically, anyone wishing to view the meeting may do so via Comcast Channel 10, or may view the recorded meeting tomorrow on the city's YouTube channel. So sorry for that inconvenience. It is sadly beyond our control. I'm sure it'll be for next week. Let's see, this city council meeting will be conducted in the traditional in-person format, right here at City Hall. And I just mentioned the go-to meeting problem for this evening, and we will have in-person comments as always when the time is appropriate. So may I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Brummel,
Here.
Alderman Lockett,
Here.
Alderman Ashour,
Here.
Alderman Berry. Here. Alderman Davalos. Here. Alderman Augustinovich,
Here.
Alderman Wilkie,
Here.
Alderman Widener,
Here.
Alderman Kruckenberg.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, full complement this evening. Would you please stand as you are able and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, to start off this evening, we will conclude our presentations for our budget process with the police department presentation. We have Chief Sam Bonilla here this evening. I just came from another meeting, seems like it was all day, but welcome, Chief. We're looking forward to hearing what you have to say this evening.
All right, thank you for having me here tonight. I look forward to giving you my presentation. I think I'm the last one, so I'm going to wrap this up and try to be quick and very informative for you tonight. It's hard to follow up the last presentation you had because I believe that was the mayor, so I'm going to have to follow up what he did. So you're going to hear a lot of repeats for what he did. So I was taking notes while you were going, Mayor, so. All right, the first thing I'd like to do is introduce you to our police department. This is our police department here. Those are some really sourpuss-looking faces, huh? How about that? Is that better? There we go. Smiling faces on there is much better. Here's the mission of our police department. It's to remain dedicated to serving the community with uncompromising integrity and moral values. With professionalism and compassion, the department strives to reduce crime, foster community partnership, and sustain the public trust. This is what we do within the Warrenville Police Department. Our goal is to make sure that we give every member of this community a feeling of security and safety and provide high quality services to everyone with professionalism, dignity, and respect. Where we get those from is our shared principles. These are our shared principles that we've adopted in 2020. However, in 2023, we had every officer reacquaint themselves with these principles, and every officer signed off on them, and they're posted in the lobby of our police department. So that way, everybody knows what our shared principles are. Some of the main phrases from that are dignity and respect, building trust, procedural justice, community policing, and rejecting discrimination. These are our shared principles. Now, there's more to it than that, but again, we wanted to reaffirm within our police department that all of our officers are committed to this, the officers that serve the community. So let's talk about some of the fiscal year 2024 in review, some of the challenges that we faced and some of the accomplishments that we've overcome. And then we're going to talk about 2025 preview, some of the priorities and opportunities that we're going to be expecting. So first, our 2024 challenges. One of our challenges was staffing. Another one being equipment within the police department. And the third one is community engagement. How do we engage the community with the police? How do we develop that trust and partnership within our community? Okay. All right. So the first thing that we've overcome with some of our accomplishments within the police department is recruiting our new officers, new recruits. We had 3 new hires that we welcomed to the police department as new recruits, meaning they were untrained, had to take a testing process, and get sent to the police academy. We have one, which is Officer Maxwell. He's currently on his own, but he's on probation. And we have 2, Officer Landolina and Burns, that are in field training currently, learning from experienced police officers. They're expected to clear field training by May, and they'll be on their own, and then we should be at full staff. We've hired 2 part-time police officers. One, Detective Spears, who's a full-time police officer with Oswego, but she's helping us within our detective division. She's helping us with our backgrounds. She's doing a lot of follow-ups and phone calls, and she's able to go out on calls with our detectives when they do neighborhood canvasses, follow-ups, and things of that nature. We also added our part-time emergency management coordinator, Rob Miller, who's been doing a great job putting our emergency management plans. He's reviewing all of those, and we're coming out with new procedures for the whole city for emergency management. And we've also started our lateral transfer program. This has been a huge savior for us within the police department. That means lateral transfer means we get a police officer that's already trained. They're already ready to go. We literally have to bring them within the police department, get them acquainted with the way Warrenville does things, and it takes a lot quicker time than it does if we were to hire a brand-new police officer who has no experience. Within a matter of a few months, they're on their own patrolling the streets of Warrenville, and they bring a lot of experience from where they came from. For example, we have Officer Puente, who came from Bartlett Police Department. He had 5 years of police experience already under his belt that he's bringing to Warrenville. Not only that, but he already had some specialized training that he's also bringing. He's a drug recognition expert, and he's also a drone operator already. So those are things that we are going to tap into already trained. Officer Barma, she's coming up to us from the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Now, this is a unique situation because she went from the police academy directly to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. So it's almost the equivalent of going from the police academy right into investigations, where she learned to interview people, go out on calls, do canvasses, things that you normally see of detectives. So the only thing that we have to do with her is get her trained for street patrol, get her acquainted with that, responding to accidents, being a first responder. Let me back up for 1 minute here, because I wanted to say one more thing. Now, I have to say that we did lose 2 police officers, but it's not a sad story. One is Officer Perola. She went from being a CSO to our community service officer. So we lost her as a police officer, but we didn't lose her entirely because she's still contributing to the police department. We lost Officer Law. He went to Indiana because of family reasons. However, we're working on getting him back part-time. So he's coming back, and he wanted to come back to Warrenville. He would rather take a part-time police officer job at Warrenville than work full-time anywhere else. That says a lot for our department in our city. That's really big. We have a new promotional list for sergeants, and we have a new officer candidate list, so we are ready to go. We are currently full-staffed right now. I hate to say that, but we are full-staffed. We're just waiting for these folks to get trained and on their own, and we are ready to go. Knock on wood, hopefully we don't have any injuries or anybody else leaving, but if we do, we have a promotional list ready, and we have a new officer candidate list ready to go as well. Some of the equipment accomplishments that we have. We got new squads. We got 4 Fords that are currently in service already and patrolling the streets of Warrenville. We had 4 Dodges delivered. We have 1 in service and 3 that are waiting. We're having some scheduling issues with Ultra Strobe, but they should be ready to go shortly. And then we'll have all our squads. We were kind of backlogged a little bit. We were kind of worried about getting squads at all, but then all of a sudden, Ford and Dodge came through, and then next thing you know, we got delivered a bunch of cars. So we're working on getting those up and running. Utilizing the Illinois Public Risk Fund Safety Grant, we were able to purchase a drone, which you can see in the back of the room here. Now, the drone is strictly going to be used for looking for anybody who's missing, reconstructing accident crashes, going out and doing like surveying an area before we have a community event, or flying them during a community event. We are not actively searching for criminal activity or violating anybody's privacy with these things. That is not what we got these for, and that's what they won't be used for that. They're used to help us with our community events and for reconstructing accident scenes and going out and finding missing persons. That's what we're utilizing these for. Now, we currently have Corporal Massey, who's trained in the drone. We have Officer Puente that I had mentioned earlier that we got from Bartlett, who is trained, but we have to get him recertified. And then we have a few other officers that are interested in also becoming certified. It typically takes about 2 officers just to man that. You have one that controls and one that's viewing the cameras. Again, please, at the end of our meeting today, feel free to go back there and take a look at that. It's pretty impressive, and for us to have one of those is a great thing to have.
We're not going to fire it up now, Chief?
Well, no, it'll blow wind everywhere, and okay. We also have our flock cameras installed this year. Now, we have all of them installed except for one. We're waiting for a permit on the last one to be installed. And once we get that, we'll have all of our flock cameras. We just had 5 more that were approved by the council, so we're going to have those installed as well. Obviously, the flock cameras are just license plate readers. Again, they're not cameras to watch criminal activity or anything like that. They're strictly license plate readers. These have been successful within Warrenville to catch the ATM robbers that we had. We assisted the FBI with that when they came out and investigated our ATM that was robbed here. We were able to track down the burglars down to Texas, where they were eventually apprehended using flock cameras. We're using those in assisting in stolen autos and all kinds of criminal activity once the license plate is read, when somebody's actively looking for that particular license plate. We've just had our interview room cameras installed. They're new cameras that sync up with our body cameras and with our squad cameras. So it's all in the same system. It gets recorded and it uploaded to evidence similarly to our body cams and our squad cams, just so that way everything's synced up. We've had new carpeting and painting. Now, I know this doesn't sound like a really big deal, but for us, it's a huge deal because it makes our police department more inviting. It makes it more updated, and it makes the officers feel valued that when they come to work, they're working in an inviting environment that they have, you know? So when they come in, this is what they see. They see a brand-new police department made from an older police department. Now, some of the pictures that you see here is something that we've added to kind of commemorate some of the history of our police department. We have the old patches here, kind of along the line, so that way, again, so that our officers could come in and kind of see where our department came from. Now, this is what I'm most excited about, even more than the equipment and the people. is our community engagement accomplishments. Okay, these are the things that I wanted to get more involved in when I came here as a chief of police over a year ago. I wanted to make sure that our police department was more involved in the community because, again, I feel very strongly that that helps develop a partnership within the community as we can all work together. It develops trust within the community when the residents know your police officers and they're approachable at these events, and they talk to them on a regular basis. Some of the things that we've done this year are the Bauer Elementary Breakfast with the Chief. We had 2 young children who won basically like a lottery for them to have breakfast with the chief. We did our document shredding event where we shredded 7,600 pounds of documents. We had our prescription drug recycling, 611 pounds. We did our cop on a rooftop with Dunkin' Donuts. We raised $5,300 for that. We did our bike rodeo event, helping with safety and registration for bicycles within the community. Our big national night out, which is what we had over 1,200 persons show up for that, which is one of the biggest events that we've had. And we were featured on ABC News for our event. So that's a big deal for us. I mean, for Warrenville to make the news on that, that's a pretty big deal. So we're pretty excited about that. We were involved in the Park District Trunk or Treat event. Our Citizens Police Academy is the first that we've done in 10 years. And we had a really good turnout for that. We're hoping for a bigger turnout again. We did our Toys for Tots event. And again, we raised more toys for tots than we've had in previous years. So that was a great turnout. And we had 2 officers that helped with DuPage County Shop with a Cop event. So again, as you can see, we're very engaged with the community and trying to get involved with a lot of these things. So I figure some of the pictures are worth 1,000 words, so I wanted to show, here is our graduation from our Citizens Police Academy. As you can see, we had a great turnout from that. And then this is our trunk or treat at the Park District. Scary. Some honorable mentions that we have is we had Sergeant Maxwell that graduated from Northwestern University Center for Police Staff and Command for supervisory studies. We had Corporal Wilkes served as a supervisor at the Police Academy, gaining valuable knowledge. We had Detective Snap received a life-saving award this year. So some of those things are worth mentioning that we've also accomplished. So where does that leave us for 2025? I've heard everybody else's speeches come before me, and everybody talked about fiscal responsibility and how important that is with the city of Warrenville. I want everybody to know that that's pretty important with the police department as well. And if we ask for something, I want the council to know that it's something that we need, or it'll make the community better if we're asking for it. With that said, I'm not prepping you folks for anything big that I'm asking, because I'm not really asking for anything big this year. We have no huge decision packages or anything like that coming, because what we really want to focus on is our staff. We want to develop our staff now. We got our equipment, we got our manpower, so we're up and running where we want to be. But now what we want to do is we want to focus internally. How do we develop our police department to make it better? Well, obviously, that still costs money, but it doesn't cost as much money as a new drone, let's say. So what we want to do now is we want to focus on our professional development, our annual training for our police officers, our leadership training, and our specialization training in some of our areas where we need them. We have contract negotiations coming up with the officers, so we want to focus on that this year. We also want to increase our collaboration with the city departments, have some focus groups, community events, and training amongst the different departments, the fire department, the park district, the city council, the city staff, all those things that we want to partner with to make sure that we are up and running and we're doing the best we can for the city. Now, I wanted to mention earlier, as I kind of went through my slides, is that we've been working very tightly with a lot of our cohorts within the community. Obviously, with all the new people we've hired, we've had to work very closely with HR. With new permits and new licensing requirements, we've had to work with community development. You know, some of the things that we're doing out in the public, we've had to work very closely with Public Works. So we're working very closely together, and that's something that I'm very proud of within the city, to say how well everybody works with the city staff, you know, behind closed doors when we're making, you know, some of the decisions to present before you. The other thing we want to do for 2025 is we want to increase our community engagement. We want to get more involved with the school district. They've asked to do DARE programs and other programs within the school. We want to get back involved in that. We want to do more open house events and invite the public into our house to see what it's like. We're not hidden behind some mysterious closed doors or some kind of Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. We want to have open doors and some transparency, so we want to invite the public in to see exactly how we operate. We want to get involved in more community events and bigger community events. We want to have a bigger Citizens Police Academy next year, which is what we're hoping for, to get more people involved in that, because, again, the more that the community learns about the police, the more trust that we develop when they understand, why does the police do what they do? That's very important to us. We also want to embrace a sense of history within the police department. We want to enhance the department's historical aesthetics. So there's certain things that we want to do within the department. Now, we started with some of those signs that you saw earlier with the old patches. Well, we want to start doing some more stuff like that, more of a kind of like a museum feel, or some old pictures and some old things hanging up around the police department, so that way we could find our roots. You know, we want to make sure that we are creating a Warrenville culture within our department, because we are a Warrenville Police Department, and we want to make sure that we remember that when we come into work. So that's all I have. If I have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Well done, Chief. Great accomplishments for the past year, and you got, I think, all of us excited about the next year, about the things that you're planning to do, and creating culture, a Warrenville culture within the department, in cooperation with the other departments, the other taxing districts. It's a wonderful plan, so well done.
Thank you.
Anybody else, comments or questions? Alderman Lockett.
So I was at Bauer School, walking down the hall, and the kids had to write what they wanted to grow. What did they want to be when they grew up? And it was very encouraging to see that still, at some of those younger ages, a majority of them wanted to go into some form of, public service, whether it was a fireman, whether it was a police officer. And I think that is indicative of the community and the things that they are around, especially coming off the past couple years, or whatever you want to say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, with certain people's outlook on the police, and how they are. So it was very encouraging to see these young kids still have that kind of desire and want. Some want to play in the NFL. Nobody wanted to be an elected official, I looked. But they all wanted to be firemen and, police officers. So I think that goes a lot on you. And it's amazing to me with the outreach that you guys do now, that you're not settling, you want to do more, you just want to keep going. So I just think that's fantastic. So thank you to you and the department. Appreciate it.
Alderman Davalos.
Thank you, Mayor. To build off that, I just want to say thank you. You have brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and I felt it definitely tonight, and we've been feeling it for a while, but this was a great presentation.
Thank
a
you.
lot of exciting things. I keep looking at the drone over there thinking, this is pretty cool. So I just have a heart for our police department. I always have, and it's so sacrificial in so many ways that even the public doesn't know, and I'm just so proud of it and proud of what's going on. And every week, it seems like one of the slides was talking about more training and more seminars. I'm telling you, when you look at the weekly report, there's not a week practically that goes by that the police aren't training, doing something. So it's extraordinary. And I think that enthusiasm is infective. I'm glad you're thinking about more contacts and more presence in the community. I think that's awesome. So it was a lovely report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the excitement goes on.
Yeah, I think Alderman Davalos hit on the critical thing, that the two things that we need most are what you're concentrating on. One is the training of our officers to make sure they're highly trained, and two, the connection between the citizens and the police department. I think all the literature that has studied police action in the past has indicated the most successful communities in terms of safety are the ones that have a good rapport between the police department and the citizens. And you're certainly enhancing that. You've done a good job of starting it, and we look forward to making it even better. So well done with that.
Thank you,
One
Mayor.
last thing, we need to emphasize that we don't always buy 8 squad cars at once, that this
No,
is
we didn't
kind of
buy
a
them at
lump-
once.
Yeah, this was kind of a lumpy thing that just fell together, but they had been scheduled over a period of time, right? Just a reminder,
Yes,
folks.
no, they shipped all at once. We didn't buy them all at
Right.
once, so,
Okay, anyone else? Well done, Chief, thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay, we'll go into citizens' comments. We have 2 folks that have signed up this evening, Mr. Bob Siebert first, and then Tom Fairbanks.
Bob Siebert, Albright Court, Economic Development and Property Tax. 2 of my favorite subjects. I'll read from the bottom of page 9, top of page 10 of the City of Warrenville budget for fiscal 2006. The mathematical process used to calculate the tax rate is actually a 3-step sequence. The township assessor will calculate the general property value increases, meaning the inflationary amount will be added to the existing property tax base, excluding new construction. A key element there. Second, DuPage County Clerk then applies the city's levy request to the collective value of the existing tax base. This determines the year's tax rate. Number 3, this derived rate then applies to the new construction, adding it to the existing base, and the total levy is complete. We have seen on the public hearings, item 1 and item 2. That's why I always request at the public hearing for the new construction, EAV, divided into TIF district and non-TIF district. The latest amounts that I received, I haven't gotten this year's, which I've requested, but last year's, there was a $10 million increase in new construction. That means that that would be an increase in revenue to the city from the amount that was given in the public hearing. What can we conclude from the City of Warrenville's discussion in the actual technology of the property tax structure with the economic development? We can conclude economic development does not reduce current property taxes. Why? It's not included in item 2 that determines the tax rate. And we see this in 2010 with Cantera, 1.88 million of new revenue, not one dime of tax reduction. We can see that today with the Ferry Road apartments and townhomes. When they're completed, there will be approximately $333,000 of new tax revenue, not one dime of tax reduction. 20 years ago, the City Council passed an ordinance that could reduce the property tax. At the same time, they passed an ordinance to increase a new tax revenue that would apply to these property tax reductions. Now you have an opportunity with a new 5-year plan to fulfill the objective of the 20-year-old ordinance. I do not request to lower the property taxes as the ordinance states, but only not to increase the property taxes for the next 5 years. The new annual revenue would still flow to the city of Warrenville, but from a different revenue source. And remind yourself that there is a ceiling on the annual property tax increases.
Thank you, Bob. Tom?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Fairbanks, 28 West, 559 Main Street. And as we can tell from the last few days, spring has sprung. And I was just wondering, we had a meeting or discussion last year about golf cart rules and on the city streets. I don't want to say I'm hearing any vicious rumors, but I just was wondering if the city is still working on a plan or they got a group together and basically trying to make everybody aware again that we're going to start seeing them on the streets really soon. And if there's anything on the books about making rules for golf carts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, we're going to official and staff comments. Just a reminder that the city is engaging in a strategic planning operation, and we have a couple of opportunities for citizen input coming up this week, right? City Administrator White.
We do.
Give us the news. Get your pens out, write this down.
So we still have space available. The first of the strategic plan focus groups is tomorrow at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. And then there's another session at 1 o'clock on Wednesday and 6 p.m. on Wednesday. So if you are interested, there is a sign-up sheet on the city's website on the homepage under Spotlight and News. You can click on it, add your very basic information, name, address, contact info, and we will get you scheduled for one of those sessions. There is also a Zoom version at the end of the month. I believe that date is March 27th. That sign-up is also available in the same place. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. An opportunity for some input. And looking ahead is always a very important part of what we try to do. We were at the Fire Protection District this evening for their strategic plan meeting. They're looking ahead, trying to make plans for the next 5 years. We're trying to do the same thing. Our last strategic plan was adopted in May of 2015. These things have a shelf life of 5 or 6 or 7 years. They need to be renewed because communities keep changing and our needs and the wants of the citizens keep changing. So you have your opportunity to help us determine what Warrenville will look like in 5 years. So take a half hour, take an hour, take 15 minutes, whatever it is, give us some idea of what's important to you. Okay, clerk.
I can mention that early voting has already begun, and the Park District is hosting early voting. So if you go to the DuPage County election division website. There's more information about the various places throughout the county that you can vote early. Otherwise, the primary will take place here on the 19th of March.
Very good. And there's always voting by mail, which my wife and I do. Very easy, very nice, very secure. Treasurer?
I want to thank the Community Development Department for the removal of the 178 signs illegally placed out on the right-of-way on Route 59. And if experience is any guide, there'll probably be a few more put back up there. But one thing which is particularly disappointing to me is that a large fraction of those signs are for judge candidates who, when they get into office, they have to help enforce the laws and stuff. And so I just wish the judge candidates could be better in that regard. I certainly want to encourage everyone to vote in the upcoming primary, either through early voting or on the election day 2 weeks from tomorrow. If you need information about the various candidates, a very excellent resource is vote411.org, which is put together by the League of Women Voters. You can go there, put in your address, and find out what districts you're in. You can find out who the candidates are in the Republican and Democratic primaries. And then you can get information about the websites and the policies of all the candidates who chose to provide that information to the League of Women Voters. I even found some information that I had gotten very confused about. This is the first election where we're going to elect judges to the circuit court by sub-circuit. So DuPage County is in the 18th circuit, and it's been divided into 7 sub-circuits for the circuit court judges. There are 3 vacancies among those seven judges. So most of Warrenville is in the 2nd sub-circuit, and there are candidates for that on the Democratic and Republican sides. But a little bit of Warrenville is in some of the other sub-circuits where there aren't any candidates. And when someone called me about their ballot, I was initially confused by that and figured it out going to vote411.org. Anyway, one thing that is nice in DuPage County is that anyone can vote now at any polling place. And so you don't have to worry about where to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Maury. Alderman. Alderman Berry.
Well, since the chief got up and gave us such a great presentation, I wanted to let everybody know that this Saturday, March 9th at 11 a.m., that there is the polar plunge for the Special Olympics, which the police department will be right out here at Stafford Place. And you're all welcome to come by, make a donation, cheer your favorite thrower, I guess, on, or whatever it is that, however they get in the water, they just jump in. I'm not sure how that happens, but we need those donations. This is all for Special Olympics, so thank you to the police department for doing this. So, see you there on Saturday morning. Okay.
Are you jumping? Wow.
Well, it's going to be like 65 degrees, so you guys are going to have to get a lot of ice.
Ice cubes. We'll throw some ice cubes in there, don't worry.
They always put ice in. It's never warm, right? Thank you, Alderman. Anyone else? Very good. City Administrator? Very good. City Attorney? Very good. Thank you. Well, we're on to approving the agenda, and Alderman Widener is back.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the consent agenda for the March 4th, 2024 City Council regular meeting.
Second.
Second by Alderman Kruckenberg. Any discussion? Any changes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is approved as presented. We have one set of minutes that need approval also. Alderman Widener.
Yes, thank you. I move to approve the minutes of the February 20th, 2024 City Council regular meeting.
Second.
Second again by Alderman Kruckenberg. And again, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved as presented. The consent agenda for this evening, and this has to be a record-short consent agenda, so I'm going to read it very slowly. Okay, I won't. Item 6A, accept Mayor Brummel's recommendation and approve the appointment of Andrew Johnson to the Plan Commission effective April 18th, 2024, for a term expiring May 20th, 2024, and to the 5-year term commencing May 21st, 2024, and ending May 20th, 2029. B, receive and file minutes of the Tourism and Arts Commission meeting held on January 11th, 2024. C, receive and file draft minutes of the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals meeting held on February 22nd, 2024. D, receive and file report of invoices paid up to February 28th, 2024, in the amount of $62,047.57. And E, authorize expenditures for invoices due on or before March 18th, 2024, in the amount of $266,188.51. Alderman Widener?
I move to approve the agenda as presented by Mayor David Brummel.
Second.
Second by Alderman Lockett. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Augustinovich.
Aye.
Alderman Lockett.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Kruckenberg.
Aye.
Alderman Wilkie.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved as presented. We have nothing listed under the regular agenda. We have no unfinished business listed for discussion. The same for the new business category. We have no need for a closed session. Who would like to make the motion to adjourn? Alderman Lockett.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. We wait for just a moment to savor this moment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Just feeling silly tonight. Ah, goodness.